Baby, I need to discuss a personal issue with you, one I should have brought up a long time ago. I've rehearsed this moment in my head 100 times, but every version had one thing missing: the courage to tell the truth without polishing it, without hiding the parts of me that still tremble when I look you in the eyes. I don't want to package this like a speech. I don't want to turn this into a performance. I want it to be what it is: a confession from a man who finally understands that silence is not protection. It's a slow undoing of everything sacred, and I can't lose what's sacred anymore, not when the sacred is you. I owe you the story behind all the pauses, behind the messages that came late, and the explanations that didn't quite land. I owe you the reason I kept treating your love like a beautiful room I'd step into but never unpack my bags in. Baby, the truth is, I have carried a wound I kept wrapped in pride and called it endurance. I convinced myself that if I just stayed quiet, the storm would pass. If I just numbed it long enough, it would stop asking for my attention. I kept an old hurt like a shrine in the corner of my chest, and I knelt there so often that I forgot how to stand upright in the presence of a love that didn't require me to kneel at all. You offered me sunlight, and I kept asking if we deserved a window. You offered me home, and I kept sleeping with my shoes on, ready to run. This isn't about other people anymore. It's not about the rumors or the pressure or the way eyes follow us when we laugh, like we invented joy. This is about the part of me that still believed love needed to be earned through suffering. I learned loyalty in the house of scarcity. I learned tenderness like a foreign language that I could read but not speak. But when you came, soft and steady, with the kind of patience that birds land on, I didn't know how to hold you without bracing. I kept waiting for the drop, for the test, for the price, and when I didn't find it, I made one. I created distance, masked as maturity. I set timelines disguised as wisdom. I turned your open arms into a mirror I was afraid to look into, and then I called it timing, fate, maybe even logic, but it wasn't any of those things. It was fear dressed in expensive words. There's a memory that won't leave me. The night you told me you weren't asking for a promise, just a presence. How you said you didn't need a declaration with fireworks. You wanted a room where our hearts could be honest without flickering. I nodded like I understood, but inside I was checking locks on doors that didn't need to be locked anymore. I was counting exits in case the building of us caught fire. Baby, I want you to know what I couldn't say then. I locked the doors on a house that was never burning. It was my breath that was short, not the oxygen. It was my panic that felt like prophecy. It was my old hurt pretending to be wisdom, and I passed it off to you like it was truth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for every time I made you translate a language you never spoke. For every time I let you wonder if your softness was inconvenient, if your love needed to whisper to be allowed to stay. There's another thing, harder still. I thought I could carry my past like a quiet backpack and still run toward you with open arms. But a backpack becomes a body when you try to hold someone with it still on. I kept my grief zipped up and called it discipline. I kept my shame folded and called it privacy. I told myself that a man should arrive, healed, or not arrive at all, so I arrived like a ghost, present but not fully here, loving you with hands that never unclenched, kissing you with a mouth that still tasted like goodbye. And when you asked me where I go when I go quiet, I told you nowhere, because admitting the truth felt like confessing a weakness I didn't want you to see. Baby, my nowhere was a museum of old losses, the kind where I guided myself around in circles, pointing at exhibits titled Reasons Not to Trust Joy. I kept buying tickets to see what I should have let close. I kept returning to funerals I was never meant to attend twice. I know this sounds like poetry, but it isn't. It's a map of my avoidance. It's the blueprint of the house I built from caution and called it a temple. And while I worshipped there, I asked you to wait outside in the rain, promising that soon we'd go somewhere warm. You believed me because you loved me. You stood under that gray sky and still sent me sunlight through your voice, heat through your patience, shelter through your faith. I'm not proud of how long I let you wait. I'm not proud that you had to keep telling yourself that love is patient just to keep loving me. And I'm done asking you to prove your strength just so I can hide my fear. The personal issue I need to discuss is not a single event. It's a pattern. It's the pattern of treating love like a test I have to ace rather than a garden I get to tend. It's the way I say I'm fine with a straight face while my soul is tugging my sleeve, begging me to say I'm scared. It's how I shrink at the thought of needing you, because the last time I needed someone like this, the ground I stood on gave way. But baby, you are not that ground. You are not the collapse. You are the quiet after. You are the steadying hand and the first deep breath that returns after a long storm. Somehow, I forgot that needing you is not the end of me. It's how I become more honest. I need to tell you about the moment I realized I couldn't keep doing this. I was alone, and the room was the kind of quiet that makes you confess to yourself. I reached for my phone to type a message I've typed a dozen times. I'm okay. Don't worry. And the words just wouldn't let me hit send. It felt like lying to a God who already knows the truth. It felt like standing at a door you're knocking on from the inside. So I put the phone down and said out loud, I need her. The walls didn't fall. The sky didn't scold me. I didn't become small. I became real. I became the version of me you loved. The one who breathes fully, who tells the truth before the room asks for it. That's when I knew. If I want to love you right, I have to love you honestly, even when honesty makes my voice shake. I'm not here with a list of demands or a script of what you should feel. I'm here with a vow that doesn't hide in poetry. I am ready to be seen in the daylight of us. I am ready to say the whole sentence without swallowing the words that matter. I am ready to build a life where apologies are not rare, where accountability is not a special occasion, where I don't treat your tenderness like a privilege I have to ration. I want to be the man who brings the truth home before it becomes a rumor in my own heart. I want to be the man who says, I'm struggling, before struggle turns into distance. I want to be the man who doesn't schedule his love around his fear. Baby, there are practical things I'm changing. I'm putting boundaries where my past kept breaching. I'm archiving the old conversations that I visited like altars, so I can stop praying to broken narratives. I'm choosing slowness over performing certainty. I'm letting the people who once influenced my doubts become witnesses to my clarity. And when the room goes silent and someone asks me what I want, I will not talk around your name. I will say it with a reverence that sounds like this. I want her. Not as a secret, not as a someday, as a present tense, as a daily verb. as the mercy that taught me to breathe. I know words are easy to carry and hard to live, so let me be plain. I intend to make your life lighter, not heavier. I intend to become fluent in reassurance without you having to issue the translation. When your fears rise, I won't ask you to apologize for being human. I will not weaponize your vulnerability. I will not punish you for needing what I also need. If I falter, I will say so. If I don't know, I will say I don't know and not dress it up as distant. If the past tries to knock on our door, I will answer it with truth, not with the kind of silence that invites it in to stay. And because I owe you completeness, there is guilt in me for the time I lost while pretending I was saving us time. Guilt for the days you watered a future I left thirsty. Guilt for the smile you wore while holding back questions you deserved answers to. I won't ask you to forget it. I ask you to let me repay it in a currency made of steady mornings, clear check-ins, and the kind of presence that doesn't need to be begged for. I ask you to measure me not by how beautifully I confess, but by how quietly I keep the promises I name here. Watch me show up on ordinary Tuesdays with the same devotion I bring to grand apologies. Watch me choose the long road of repair over the shortcut of comfort. Watch me honor your heart in rooms you're not in, and in the ones where your eyes ask me to be brave. There is a line you once said that keeps holding me together. Love is not supposed to be a maze. It's supposed to be a map. I've turned too many corners looking for exits. I choose now to look for landmarks. I choose tenderness as the street light, honesty as the compass, accountability as the compass, accountability as the mile marker that proves we're not just moving, we're arriving. If you let me, I will lay my fear down like luggage. I refuse to carry on to our next flight. I will step into the aisle of our becoming and say to every old excuse, you don't get a seat here anymore. So, here is the part I should have said at the beginning, the part I didn't say because I was still learning how to breathe with my heart open. I love you, not the idea of you, not the memory of you. You, as you are, as you feel, as you ask, as you need. I love the version of us that sits with discomfort until it becomes direction. I love the way your presence makes my life honest. I love that your laugh turns my stubbornness into surrender. I love the way you refuse to barter your softness for survival. I love that when I think of home, it is not a roof or a room. It is the way your voice says my name, like I am forgiven in advance. If you choose to keep walking with me, I will make it easy to walk. I will pace myself with your pace. I will not outrun you in fear or lag behind you in pride. I will hold your hand like a promise that doesn't need witnesses to be true. And if you need time, if you need to see the new shape of me, before you trust it, that is holy. I will not rush your discernment. I will not translate your boundaries as rejection. I will honor your yes and your maybe and your not yet with the same reverence I offer to God when I whisper thank you for another chance. Baby, I needed to discuss this because pretending almost cost me the one thing I can't replace, the chance to love you in truth. I'm done pretending. I'm done performing competence while my soul begs for closeness. I'm done protecting an image that doesn't tuck me in at night. From here on, I choose the work that keeps us warm. I choose the daily that outlasts the grand. I choose the daily. I choose us, not as a secret hope, but as a practiced devotion. If your heart feels even a small yes moving inside it, like a curtain stirring when the window opens. I'll meet that yes with patience and proof. And if your heart needs more time, I'll meet that with respect and stillness. Either way, I won't let fear drive this anymore. I won't let the past hold the pen. The story that continues from here will be written in the light, with 2 hands, with clear ink and open windows. And every chapter will begin the same way. Baby, I choose you, and I'm here, baby. You know what hurts the most about silence? It starts as protection and ends as distance. I told myself that keeping certain things unspoken would keep our peace safe, but now I see it only built walls around the very love that was meant to breathe freely.